last time, Parker. Our pronouns are they, them. Not because we are non-binary, but because we are literally two niggas.
What's up, everybody? And today we're taking a look at another one of my customs, a Mark Bagley 90s style Venom. So, here is the figure himself. I'll go over the details and whatnot, and, just go over what I pretty much did. Now, this isn't just a random, new custom that I wanted to do. This is actually a redo of an older custom, which is basically pretty much the same thing. It was just a cel-shaded Venom. I wasn't doing any particular comic artist rendition of Venom. All I did was just try and shade it. I will throw up the picture right here, showing what it did look like, and it did not look good at all. But, of course, now with, skills that I've acquired over the years and doing custom after custom after custom, sometimes your artistic ways of doing things change. So I decided to apply that to an older figure here, and it came out quite good. So I pretty much just covered him all in black, repaint him up all in black. And then I just added, the better version of cel shading, but in a more comic-y kind of way, to make him, feel a little bit more from something. And I decided to go with Mark Bagley. Originally, I was going to do Todd McFarlane, but then I was like, I don't know, the head doesn't really feel Todd McFarlane-y. It does in some ways, but it just feels more like Mark Bagley, and plus the other, tongue head that this figure comes with, which I will go over in the accessories, because I did give him some custom accessories too as well. By custom accessories, I mean just adding on to what was already there. But anyway, so I decided to go with a Mark Bagley look. So as you can see here, I did a bunch of kind of comic-y type shading that was done back in, the 90s era. Try to do my best. Some of it isn't too great. Some of it is pretty decent. It was really hard when it came down to certain parts of this guy, because I had to look at lots of reference photos, but I think for the most part, I did a pretty well job. And you can see, even I did, some of the cross-hatching a little bit here and there to give it that very comic-y style to it. I especially like how I did the shoulders. The shoulders are a pretty big standout, and the biceps and whatnot. I feel like those came out probably the best. And I think the torso area came out pretty well. Decently highlighted, not too crazy or nothing. So I think it came out pretty well. Got a bunch of, shading here on the back too as well. Thank God that the spider symbol was not disturbed by any of the paintwork done. So it is all clean all the way throughout. Now this does use the old Hyperion body Venom from way back in the day, because this was that Venom from way back in the day. But as you can see, the eyes used to be like a chrome. I don't know why I did that. It was just some weird choice I decided to do. I did it with my Carnage too, which I will be redoing sometime in the future. But I repainted those in white this time. And then did, of course, the shading around the head. Didn't mess with the teeth, because I think the teeth are quite perfect. But yeah, I mean, there's really not too much really to go off of any further with what I did, because it is a pretty basic style repaint. I just wanted to make it look a little bit more comic accurate, or at least shaded like the comics were back in the day. And to be honest, I think it came out quite great. So, besides him looking cool, he does have some accessories, so let's go over the accessories. And of course, first off, he does have his fists. Did paint those up pretty nicely, give him a little bit of shading too as well. They're pretty basic, fists. Then, of course, he does have claw hands, but the original claw hands he did have were kind of just regular short, kind of they were just hands with fingernails that were a little sharp. So I had some green stuff played to make them a little bit sharper. And then, of course, I had, shading on them and whatnot as well with both hands. And I feel like the longer claws definitely look a whole hell of a lot better. But that is pretty much it as far as the hands go. And as far as heads go, of course, there is the regular style head, which I already have gone pretty much over. So let's move on to the next head, which is this head. Now, this head was really special. It was much like the other one, had the same type of like eyes and whatnot, but those eyes just did not match the source material I wanted to go for, so I sculpted over the head, made it all completely flat and everything, and then I just painted the eyes on. Taking a close look here, I like this head a lot. This is the one I display it with, because I just love that the big long tongue and the green goo just coming out and everything. It just looks really gnarly and just really dope looking. And when I think of Venom, at least 90s Venom, this is what I think about. And I of course added shading and whatnot to this head as well. I think I did pretty clean when it came to the eyes. I think those came out pretty well. See, now this just feels very Mark Bagley Venom, with the teeth and all that, and the slime coming out, and just that overall just really crazed look for Venom. And he looks really good. I absolutely love that head sculpt. Now that accessories are out of the way, let's take a look at the articulation. Now, I also did kind of forget as far as accessories go, so technically not really done with it. I did have this Eddie Brock head that did come with a different Venom, and of course a tendril piece that came with a different Venom. But that other Venom I used for another custom, which will be another video coming out after this one. So I have those two, so I could pretty much use those for this guy. Although this Eddie Brock head is kind of I don't know. Looks and feels a little bit big. Definitely could probably be a little bit better, because I'm not really sure he looked like that. Yeah, I'm not really sure he looked like that, but the symbiote piece is actually pretty nice. So I might add some, shading to it or something, because you can just plug it into the back here. Just plugs in with that port there. And you can just plug it into the back. It's a nice little symbiote piece, but okay, now the accessories are done. My bad, y'all. So, going over the articulation, both heads will have the same range of articulation. So, the head can go down about that far, and pretty much about that far. Can go up pretty much all the way. You do have full 360 rotation, some side to side because it is on a ball joint. No butterfly joints, but the arm does go a full 360. Can go up about that far. And then, of course, a bicep swivel, double jointed elbows, a hinge and swivel at the hands. Has an ab crunch that crunches forward about that far. It's very clicky. And then goes back pretty much about that far. Does have a waist swivel. He's a little bit loose, but that's how these older Marvel Legends figures pretty much were. He can split out pretty decent. He can kick forward about that far. Back, not at all. Has a thigh swivel. Double jointed knees. A boot cut that's very stiff, but he does have a boot cut there. His foot can go up about that far. Down pretty much all the way. And he does, of course, have ankle pivots. So he's pretty decently articulated for a Venom. He's going to get into all the kinds of poses that you want to get him into. But with articulation out of the way, let's go straight into a pose test. So, I hope you guys enjoyed that pose test. Now it's time to take a look at the scale. If he wants to stand, we can take a look at the scale. Come on. Don't want him to fall over anymore. There we go. All right, so now let's take a look at the scale. Hopefully my camera, or at least my phone, is propped up very nicely. So I'll move Venom to the side here. Now for the only Spider-Man comparison, at least comic book wise, that I'm going to show is obviously my other Mark Bagley Spider-Man, which is the Ultimate Spider-Man. But to be honest, the design, at least the style and look, is still like the, Bagley Spider-Man look from the 90s. It's just a teenage version. So they don't exactly scale well with each other. I mean, they technically do in universe if they cross paths, but yeah, I'm gonna be getting the Mafex Bagley Spidey sometime in the future, hopefully soon. So then I'll have a more better Bagley Spider-Man, to have to fit with this Venom at least, or my Mafex Venom, which I have somewhere around because I just got that. But yeah, that's basically him next to the Ultimate Spidey. And then, of course, for a Bagley Carnage, here I have the Marvel Legends Carnage here, which is overdue for a redo, which I will be doing sometime soon, maybe. Would just be a very simple redo with the paint and whatnot that I've applied to it. But that is pretty much, the Bagley style Carnage with that head and everything. And they look very well together. This is pretty much how I would imagine them to be. So they look absolutely perfect. And then, of course, for another, these are all going to be just Bagley, Mark Bagley style comparisons. But here's my Bagley Spider Carnage. As you can see, they share similar eye shapes. Just due to the fact that Bagley really did those eyes pretty much like that. This figure isn't 100% complete yet. I've held off on it for a while. But that is what I have of it. So that's him next to the Bagley Spider Carnage. And then, of course, for one last final comparison, a Venom comparison, here he is next to my Mark Bagley Ultimate Venom, which you can see two very different styles of Venoms, but both equally as cool in their own way. And I think they scale pretty decently with each other. This is how I would pretty much imagine them to be within universe. So with scale out the way, pretty much, it's time to get on to the final thoughts.
So starting off, the unmasked head and the symbiote piece are really nice to have, so I might end up customizing those two as well. But as for the figure itself, it was really fun to go back to this old custom and redo it and make it look a whole lot better, because it really does feel like it came right off the page of those old Mark Bagley comics. And I just really do love, the Venom head with the tongue out and the green slime. That's the head I'm going to have him pose with, of course, with the claws too. This one was a really fun and simple custom. Painting the eyes was really cool and really fun. I'm so glad that I chose to do the eyes a little bit more different and more accurate to the old Bagley comics, because this thing looks super sick, and it like posing it around looks nice. Now I need a Bagley Spider-Man to go along with it, but I mean, this thing just looks really, really cool, and I cannot wait to redo Carnage 2 as well. This figure, honestly, it's perfect for this version of Venom. But that is all for this video. Make sure to like and subscribe, follow the TikTok and the Insta, and I'll catch you guys in my next video, which is turning out to be hella.